Welcome to the Head of the Breach podcast, where we talk everything offensive security. I'm your host, Casey Cammalleri, and we're recording live at Black Hat and DEF CON. Today, I have Seth Arnoff with me. And Seth is a seasoned cybersecurity engineer with a strong background in protecting mission-driven organizations. Seth currently works at the John D. and Catherine T. MacArthur Foundation, where he focuses on building resilient systems and securing critical digital infrastructure. With a deep commitment to proactive security and a collaboration approach, Seth brings thoughtful insight into how we can navigate today's evolving threat landscape. Seth, thanks for coming on.
Thanks for having me.
So, what do you do in your day-to-day work as a cybersecurity engineer?
That's a tough question. That's a loaded question.
It's a loaded question.
It's a loaded
question.
Everything, and sometimes nothing. But no, it's a lot of different pieces. The MacArthur Foundation is unique. We're kind of on the smaller side with about 250, 300 staff, but what we do is so unique and kind of is pretty big. So every day it's your basics for cybersecurity. It's making sure patches are done, vulnerabilities are found, digging into logs, someone's trying to log in from, XYZ location, verifying it's correct or not. That's the standard. But it also goes a bit further because, we're mission driven to make things better for our staff and the people we work with. So there's a lot of projects that come into place. It could be something as simple as going passwordless. We're rolling out Windows Hello for our staff. Really great feature, rolling into our IDP. People are, really kind of enjoying the biometrics to log in, so you get rid of passwords completely. But it really kind of, goes into being phishing resistant, some resiliency, and it really shows a good impression on, everyone else we work with and our board that we take cybersecurity seriously. So every day is different. We have different projects. We have your core, cybersecurity, kind of things you have to do every day, but we have all these projects that I get to work on throughout the year too.
Now, you mentioned rolling out Windows Hello. Have you had any challenges with rolling out an initiative like that? Like for me, privacy comes to mind, right? With employees and things like that. Has that been a challenge at all?
Yeah. Everything's a lot of things are challenging just because we are a culture-forward organization, and so doing these changes, we want to make sure we're taking care of our staff appropriately. There's a lot of communication, there's a lot of demos, there's a lot of lunch and learn, so we really focus on our staff because we want them to understand it. And it really kind of helps drive adoption. And then as far as the technical side too, there's always, will it integrate with our IDP? What are the steps to do this? We have a third party that's going to be working with us. How do we make sure that's done correctly? So yeah, there's always challenges.
Yeah. And you recently went to we like to talk everything offensive here. So from a proactive security standpoint, you recently went with a continuous penetration testing approach. What made you choose to go the continuous route?
Yeah, so we've done, at a glance, at a time, penetration testing in the past. We would use different vendors. Everything was great. Everything worked fine. But it's just a point in time, right? And we are following the NIST CSF, trying to improve our cybersecurity maturity. And one of the things we want to do is get more proactive on these vulnerabilities and these findings. So we came with to Sprockets almost about a year ago now, and set up the continuous pen testing kind of for a couple of reasons. The first is obvious. We want to get what's our health throughout the year, right?
Yeah.
Instead of just in, the fall, let's get it a couple times the year, work on things, see if they're fixed, get them verified, remediations are verified, make sure everything's fixed there, and then do it again, right? And then the other part is being a little more, smaller staff here at MacArthur. We don't have a lot of time. And so, working with the pen tester, sometimes there's a lot of back and forth. What do you have to do? We have to provide certain things to them. It's time consuming. But going with continuous pen testing, you set it up, it's good to go. It just pretty much runs on its own, and it's a lot easier to manage. I don't have to go in there and check every day. We get notifications if something changes, so it's a lot easier on us as a team.
Augmenting your team as well, right? Like, where you don't have resources to be able to, bring in some experts and just kind of be there. Yeah,
exactly.
Yeah. What are some other challenges that you have as an organization as well as in your day to day?
It's mostly people based. Not saying we have difficult people at all. That's not what I mean. It's a lot of culture. Anything that's technical, it's technical, right? You can read a KB, you can open a support ticket, you can do a thing and make it happen. But just making sure we keep with our culture and be proactive and make sure our staff is not just forced into doing something, but we're doing things the right way. They understand it, because we want to do a lot of different things, like AI, for example, right? We have ChatGPT, Claude, you have Copilot, right? Everything's being rolled out, and we don't want our staff to, just go and try things, right? go and type things in.
Wild West.
Exactly. Yeah. So we're taking an approach to build a framework around it, build policies, build guidelines, build our own AI chatbot that they can use to say, hey, can I use this thing? And it'll kind of tell them what they can and can't do.
Okay.
Well,
that's a cool idea.
Yeah.
It's just like actually have the chatbot tell you what you can and cannot.
Right.
do.
Exactly. Yeah. So the challenges are, I guess some people it's like herding cats, right?
Yeah.
making sure everyone's doing the right things, making sure everyone's doing safe things, and just doing everything that we kind of are taking a proactive response on.
So when AI, actually, if you walk the floor of Black Hat in the business halls, AI, everything, right? And we know it's moving fast. It's true. It really does help the organizations out. Some of it is a complete stretch. Other of it's legit use cases. But having something like ChatGPT or whatever your chat-related AI solution is, it sounds like you guys are rolling one out. And did you do that because you want to give them the power and a safe space to do it in? Because I know a lot of organizations, they're like, all right, we have to make a decision of where we want people to use. We'd rather have people focused on using a single AI solution versus using whatever, because then it gets to be pretty hard of like, where's your data going? Where's the integrations happening, right? And we as cybersecurity people know that we can write a policy to say don't do that. Like, if we don't put a technical control in, they're going to do it. So have you had any insights that you could share of what worked well for you guys in rolling that out?
Yeah. I'm pretty sure I saw 100 vendors with AI on it. I was like, pretty sure my toaster at home is AI now.
You're right. We're there now.
Yeah. And then it gives me a feedback survey every time you toast. You get
an ad first. You get an ad first, and then
accept some cookies, right? No. It's like I said. Well, like you said, our staff, they're going to use AI one way or another, either in their personal life or in, they're going to fire up Copilot because it's built into Microsoft, right?
Yep.
Why wouldn't they use it? So we've accepted the fact that they're going to do it, right? So we want to jump ahead of it and make sure that we have the framework and everything set up. And so we're taking a bigger approach on a couple things. The first is our third-party risk, right? These AI companies essentially sell your data, right? You have some legal jargon in their terms and conditions that says anything you put into our LLM, we're going to use for training or whatever purposes. So we have our legal departments involved in every step to make sure that, we can opt out of those, right?
Yeah.
The data that we put in, our proprietary data is not being sent, to other people or in the public in the cloud. So there's data risk there. And then it's also being observant on what we have in our organization. We do have a couple tools that we look at apps, right? There's, so many different applications, cloud, SaaS-based applications that people can use, like DeepSeek for one, right?
Yeah.
China-based AI that came out, and we have the capability to check and see if anyone's using it. And we had one person. And we can monitor and see, okay, who's doing what, what people are doing with them, trying not to be, invasive, obviously, but just getting a temperature check.
Yeah.
And then we can kind of cater our trainings, our messaging, our policies around what people are using, and either how do we prevent it or how do we allow it safely.
Yeah, and that's interesting because like you can now connect a bunch of agents to do a bunch of other things, right?
Yeah.
So now Seth, now that you have everyone using a centralized chat thing, now the next thing is like, what are all the different AI agents I can connect to this thing,
Yes.
right? That's going to be the next challenge, or maybe you're already at that challenge.
Mm-hmm.
Huh? But doing, how do you think about that as a cybersecurity engineer? Like, what keeps you up at night with these AI tools? Is it privacy? Is it the connection? Is it the data being sent elsewhere? Or do you feel like you have a good handle on your current situation?
I feel like we have a good handle on it. I think taking a proactive response and approach, and making sure we're at least one or two steps ahead of, of the problems. But I mean, the AI, the data privacy, the data security, that's what doesn't keep me up at night. It does have some concerns, right?
Yeah.
Because these companies, these vendors, they do a lot of marketing, advertising, and research, and that's our data. And this is, say you're an AI company, now we can collect your data, right?
Yeah.
But it doesn't make any sense.
Yeah. Did you see any interesting vendors or technologies on the Black Hat Business Hall floor?
Oh, there are plenty of them. Honestly, I think it's been such a long day and so many vendors. Can't really have anything come to mind. I remember there was one that I looked at that looked really cool, but the name's kind of escaping me. But there's a lot of cool ones.
Because there's a lot of names and logos,
Yeah.
a lot of words being flown
Absolutely.
out there. But
a lot of new ones.
What for a cybersecurity engineer, what's the one thing that you feel that you've really leveled up on in the past 5 years?
It would be, I guess, more of the reporting, I guess.
Yeah.
So we have a lot of things. We have a lot of data. We have a SIM, right? And originally in the past, in other organizations, like not a lot of that stuff is siloed. It doesn't all come together. Mm-hmm. But now in my current role, I've had the abilities to kind of take everything and pull it together into one single source. And if it's not already easy enough to get there, I can write a parser, I can write a dashboard to kind of bring it in. So being able to kind of simplify things and get in a single pane of glass,
yeah,
I think is probably the biggest.
Was it hard to get that data all in a central repository to work with?
Yeah.
That was more.
There's a lot of data.
Yeah, I mean that's a hard problem that a lot of organizations have, and,
Yeah.
and it's funny because it sounds so basic, right?
Mm-hmm.
But at the rate that we're adding data and the rate where data is going in the organizations, sometimes it can be a challenge, especially more of a challenge at depending on what size your business is as
Mm-hmm.
well. Now that you have that data and the reporting, is there any tips or tricks that you have for reporting to the board and management of different things that you're looking at from the security program in general?
Yeah, we have a set of KPIs, not really KPIs, but more of a framework metrics. We call them our key metrics. And most of the time, you'll have a lot of data like how many people are trying to break into, your accounts, right? Which is cool on its own, cool to map out, but not always relevant. Mm-hmm. Meeting with the board and doing a presentation, the large scary numbers are great. They're great to set the scene. Say, we've had, 30,000 people try and log in today or something like that, right? That kind of, perks their ears up, but that's not the data they're looking for. They want to know, what measurable objectives you're looking at, how far you are with them, and what you're going to do to improve that, as well as any drift, right? Anything that's kind of changed. So just kind of being a little more direct and specific on what you're trying to measure, and not put stuff out there that has no actionable information.
Yeah, and that's what does that look like in reports, dashboards that you build by hand, or?
Yeah, so we have, it's actually something we're working on right now. We're pulling in a lot of data into our SIM and using that to kind of break out these different metrics, but not all of that data comes in the SIM, right?
Yeah.
It's from different tools and different settings, and trying to bring that together. But we are building a dashboard to kind of show all that data. But in the present, it's half automated and half manually built through spreadsheets.
Yeah. And what are those key metrics that you're tracking?
We have quite a few of them. Some of the more important ones are phishing, right? Mm-hmm. Not how many phishing emails were received, right? That's a cool number, but it's not an important number. We track how much of our staff has reported phishing. There's a fish report, fish alert button, fish report button, right? How many people have done that? How many people have taken the security training? How many people have clicked on a phishing link, right? We've also looking at third-party risk. So vendors, Sprocket included, actually, we did a third-party risk assessment on every single vendor we work with, every single one, even if they're small. And we get a SOC 2 if they have one. We look at their reports, we look at their security, we run tools to get some metrics on them, and we keep track of that. And so that's one of our metrics too, is how many of our vendors have we done an audit on, right? And it's something that we've been improving over the last year. It used to be where we weren't this diligent, but with this new cyber space that we have here, it's really important for that third-party risk.
Yeah. What was it like building that third-party risk program and vendor management program?
It's a lot. It's conceptually it's easy, right?
Yeah, but like a lot of things in cybersecurity.
Right. New vendor, run a report, talk to them, ask them questions, check for X, Y, Z. That's the easy part. But keeping on top of it, getting organized, making sure you're asking the right questions every single time. Make sure you're logging everything, kind of the little pieces.
Yeah.
That takes time, and that takes a lot of effort and energy to, keep everything together and just be consistent. That's the harder part of it. And that's the harder part of all of these. It's just repeatability, being measurable, and being consistent.
Yeah. So if a vendor gives you a SOC 2, you still go through a certain process, but at that point you have an understanding of what level of degree of security they have, so you have at least a quick 2-second analysis of where that risk may be.
Yeah, because a SOC 2 is hard. It's hard to get, and if you, if a vendor has a SOC 2, we know they've done at least the basics.
Yeah.
And our requirements are at least the basics plus.
Yeah.
So we get the simple stuff out of the way.
Good. Yep. Any other tips for someone that's just entering their cybersecurity career and looking to level up and grow their career?
Yeah. So it depends, right? It depends what you're interested in, what you want to do. Do you want to be on the coding side, the hacking side, right? Because that's a direct path. Do you want to be on the blue team, the protective side, right? Or do you want to be, you can even be in like cybersecurity sales. Yeah. There's so many different paths that you can do and you can take. My advice is to, kind of focus on something that you want to do and dig into it. YouTube is a great resource. Honestly, I started with, there's a company called Cybrary.
Yeah.
They do a lot of cybersecurity trainings on there, and there was a free training for CISSP. And that was actually hands down the best training I've taken to get my CSSP was that video. So, education and just kind of going through a lot of videos and kind of figuring out what path you want to take is probably the best thing I could suggest.
Yeah, great advice. what is something that is, emerging? What's an emerging threat that you feel we're not talking about very much here at this given time?
Quantum computing.
Yeah. Thank you for saying that, actually. I've been waiting for someone to say that because, holy shit. If, we break some encryption, are we ready for it, right? I don't think we are.
No, I don't think so. I was at RSA, and I talked to one of the CISOs, and he said, someone asked him the question about AI, and he said, no, not AI, quantum computing. I'm like, kind of really didn't register at the time. And I'll never forget what he said, is basically it's a race. It's a computing race. It's whoever is the fastest at, getting their quantum computing up and running is going to rule the world. Not literally, but, for shipping, for example, logistics, right? Quantum computing will compute the fastest path to get a package from A to Z, right? And if you're the first one to do that, no one can beat you. There's no way you can't find another path to do that. So, kind of being the first to be in that space, I think is, encryption aside, is honestly kind of scary. Yeah,
definitely. So, quantum computing, hopefully we're talking about that next Black Hat, a little bit more than just the AI story again. But there's a lot to talk about on both fronts. So, Seth, I appreciate taking the time, chatting with us today. If someone wants to get in touch with you and connect with you, follow your work, how can they do so?
You can reach me on LinkedIn. It's the easiest way to do that. Send me a message. I usually get those and check those pretty often.
Nice. Seth, thanks for coming on.
Thanks for having me. Appreciate it.
If you've made it this far, do me a favor and check out what we do at Sprocket Security. If you're ever in need of a penetration test and you want that hybrid scalable approach, the always testing, always on, not this fake click a button, do a pen test 2 weeks and then do that 5 times a year. No, I mean always on, always testing, latest bleeding edge threat that comes out there, latest exploit, phishing, all the way to, defense evading, covert operations, whatever type of pen test you need. We'll do it as frequently as possible, and we'll also provide a platform for us to interact together. I've devoted the last 5 years of my life to building penetration testing and innovating upon it and changing it so you can actually do security testing, proactive security testing in a much better way. Give it a shot. Check us out, www.sprocketsecurity.com.